I don't know. Can you give me like 5 minutes?
All right.
I'll
Okay,
just type in
okay.
the chat.
All right. Okay. All right. So we are live. Good evening, everybody. So as usual, sometimes we kind of like post live sessions apart from like our developers call. So, but today we'll be actually like talking about like some other thing apart from AI agents and all that. So today we'll be talking more about building a mobile app for Solana Dappstore with its best practices and all that. So everything you need to know to build a Solana mobile app, and also like push into the Dapp store and pretty much show you guys how it looks like shipping a Solana mobile app. Um, so we have Joe here. Joe actually like did the curriculum for building Solana mobile dApps on the Blue Shift dashboard. So if you actually like study um and everything about Solana, maybe you want to like get started zero to hero, or you want to like kind of understand how building on Solana looks like. Apart from Turbine and the rest, Blue Shift is also like a very good material for you to actually look out for. So Joe is also one of the contributors.
Yeah, so I think we lost Alex here. So maybe we'll just give him a few minutes to join back in, and if it doesn't, I'll just reintroduce myself and probably get started with the talk.
I think I was having issues with my internet, so but I'm back. Yeah. So give me a few minutes. Let me set up these things back, and we'll go back to what we have. Can you hear me? Yeah. So back to what we were saying. So pretty much like what we'll be talking about is building a Solana mobile app. So we'll show you guys like example of how to get started and also push the Solana App Store with the best practices of doing that. And Joe will actually like be showing us a whole lot of things around that. I think currently, how many apps do you have like on the App Store currently?
I have three apps on the store,
Three apps.
but we have more in the pipeline.
Oh, so that's pretty much good. So he's the best person to show us how it's going to look like then. So yeah, apart from that, I think we've also been having workshops and IRL events in different locations, showing people how to ship with Solana mobile apps. Showing people how to ship Solana mobile apps and also participate in the AI hackathon. So pretty much, if you've been attending like the what do you call it? If you've been attending the IRL workshops, you could actually learn one or two things. But then if you are not able to like attend some of the workshops, you should also like be able to like learn one or two things from this session. So after this session during the week, we might have like another session where I'll talk privacy and all that. But yeah, Joe, I don't know if you're ready, so that I'll get straight to it.
I mean, to take a few more minutes for my slides to be ready, right? But like,
Uh,
I have the copy, and
Maybe while we're waiting for this slide, you could just start with like an intro thing before then she'll be ready.
okay. So I think Alex already like did justice like introducing myself. Joe. Most people know me as Dominion. I focus on building Solana mobile apps, right? Because I used to build in the Web2 space, right? Uh, and during my whole journey of like trying to build on the space, there was a time because as a new developer and a student at the time, right? So I got access to Google Play Store of a friend, right? Because I couldn't afford to get one at the time, right? So it just gave me like developer access because it wasn't a dev actually. It just like happened to have it, right? So it gave me developer access. And so I also I was learning, right? I was learning, and at the same time I was trying to put out stuff, right, on the store, and I was trying to make money at the same time. So I got on Fiverr, right? Either Fiverr or Upwork, right? One of the two. I think it is Upwork. Yeah. So I met somebody. I'm going to keep the race for now because I don't want to sound so I met somebody. He said he wanted to upload his apps on my Play Store account, and I was ignorant. Is that the word? I don't know if ignorance is the word, but yeah, I told the other guy about it, and we like came to a deal for like $25, right? So he turned out to have uploaded like a malware, right? So uh, Google blocked the account, and I was like, okay, so I will just refund my friend and probably get a new account around that time. So I'm just using this as a kind of like decoy to wait for my slides. So uh, um, so what I thought was that I was going to be able to get another account since that one was not registered in my name, but that was impossible, right? So working for clients, working for as a freelancer, every single account I've opened since that time, they've like completely blocked it. Like I don't know how these guys track you. Like I've gotten two different PCs since that time, right? I've used those two different PCs to like open different emails, like completely getting rid of any back traces, right? And they still keep blocking those accounts. That was when I was it with some kind of clarity that like my whole career is in these people's hands, right? So and that's kind of crazy, because I mean I've spent like say 1 year plus building, learning how to build mobile apps, and you guys are telling me that I cannot put my apps on the store, right? It's crazy. And around that time, Super Team came up, Solana came up, and then Solana Mobile, and then everything just happened to have made sense. So like yeah, I fuck around up. Sorry for the F word. I go around hacking hacking the duopoly, and I think yeah, that's pretty much it. So today we're going to be talking about best practices building. We're going to be talking about best practices building mobile apps, right? We're going to be talking about best practices building mobile apps on Solana, crypto mobile apps. Yeah. So I believe that building the apps are very relatable, right? So whether it is a website or a mobile app, right, they happen to be very similar. There's not much differences once you know how to build websites that are that interact with crypto, right? There's no much friction of knowledge you need to start learning again. It's very similar. Or if you build, I mean, it's very similar. That's what I mean. But like, what most people don't know are like the important things to know about building mobile apps. Right? And we're also going to touch about publishing on the Solana mobile app store. So let me just check my slides real quick.
So maybe if it's taking time, just share me link to the slide, and then I'll see if I can open it from my end.
Yeah, so I have the copy. I have the copy, but like the slide is on localhost. So yeah.
That's crazy. But so while we're waiting for the slides, we will talk about like the mobile apps that have actually like shipped to the App Store, and what they look like. And maybe the first one was like experience like, and pretty much like going to the second mobile app, and then to the third one. So what does it look like shipping um, those three consecutive applications, and things that's changed, things that like you figured out, and maybe got better at?
Yeah, so I mean, what I started taking notes the most of was user experience on mobile. Right then, and then maybe trying to like find project market fits. I mean, trying to get actual users to use your apps. That's the thing I started taking note of. But the first app was pretty much just a fun project that Metasol was working on, and it just reached out to me and be like, "Oh, I see you have motion mobile wise, right?" I think that was the time I released the that tank of line I was working on. So it was like, if you are free, maybe you can just join me on this my web project, so like the mobile version of it. So I mean, it was a very basic web project, right? But like the good thing about Sal is that he has like a lot of these projects that he just keeps shipping and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, why not? I mean, it's cool. Just create token. I mean, that was what was launched and was trending at the time. Create token, create NFTs, um, liquidity pool, liquidity provision. Sorry, yeah, that's what the app is about. And in I think I mean, he just reached out and forgot about it. So I worked on it and I go back and it was blown away. I mean, yeah. So that's pretty much how we got the first app on the store. And since then, I mean, that around that time, nobody was expecting like the airdrop from Solana Mobile, right? There was no information anyway about it. So yeah, but like since then, I tried to push apps on the store, but like we couldn't go on the store because it was like on DevNet, right? So I just like lost hope at that point. So that's part of what like sponsor like the Solana mobile drop is part of what like sponsored the new apps that I pushed on the store, right? And I mean that first app, I mean I'm not sure if I'm supposed to disclose this, but like there's if people are using your app and you can earn from fees, right? So it has made some good money from like fees.
So pretty much the first app you shipped was actually like um it's not even been long you shipped your first app prior to like the remaining two that you shipped.
Yeah, it's not very long.
So what are like what's like the stack that you use in shipping it? So
I mean,
Flutter,
most of the times I love to use Flutter just because I'm most comfortable with it and I can quickly bootstrap or scaffold projects in Flutter, right? So and a lot of times I already have templates that already do something related to what I mean. Crypto interactions is just the same wallet connect signing transactions, except you want to go deeper and start implementing WebSockets for like trading and stuff. But like yeah, most of it are pretty much the same services that just need to be tweaked here and there. And then maybe on different UIs, stuff like that. So it just makes it a lot easier for me to plug and play and get apps running like very little time, right?
all right. What's good with the slides? Are they good now?
Actually, no.
Now what's the blocker?
Let me. Let me share my screen. Uh, Let me share my screen. I have an older version, although it's not as detailed as I want it to be. Right, but
So we could just talk this, the details. Don't know if you use it again. Um, forgotten. Oh yeah, can share a screen so I can present it. Okay.
right, just me a second. Right, can you see my screen?
Yeah, let me add it to the stage.
Actually, let me know if you've added it.
Yeah. I did it.
Alright, so let's just use this one as a kind of decoy to just get started. I already pitched the whole idea. 20 minutes is gone already, so I'll try to run through it. I mean, it's very short
Mm.
on its own, right? So, alright, so I took down some things that we need to go over if we're talking about best practices, right? So, um, We're going to be covering UX and onboarding, especially referencing the recent consumer consumer live stream that Super Team did. Right, so we're talking about security architecture, wallet integration, still everything still relates to UX and onboarding. Right, so then we can talk about publishing, how I approach publishing, right, and what I think about monetization because yeah, how revenue models of others are what have worked for other people, right? What works for me and probably um yeah, just best practices, right? So there's something that Ryan Jean, I hope I'm not murdering the name, said from Crypto Fantasy League, right? I think he's a co-founder. I said and this is from the live stream they had. He said next wave of users will not come because they love crypto, right? They will come because they love a mobile experience that just happens to run on crypto, right? So we're using this code because obviously it's mobile related, right? And but the truth is that next wave of like actual users are not going to come into crypto because they want to launch a coin and make profit of it, right? So you're going to love a mobile experience. Like let's say everybody loves to read Medium articles and stuff like that, right? So you can just maybe you're watching a YouTube video and it just happens to be that the YouTube video itself is stored on decentralized storage system, say Zandium or I don't know Walrus, right? Walrus is was what I was gonna say, right? So something like that. It just happens to be that the tech that everybody loves is running on crypto, right? So yeah, I think I feel that quote, right? So why mobile matters now, right? Why good user experience matters a lot, right? So Solana mobile team, props to them, have shipped over 150,000 actual devices, right? So I think prior to the airdrop, there is like around 300 apps on the Dappstore already. I mean, I put this here so that we can see that there is still like a big opportunity here, right? And those little apps, although this money now is like going to a small amount of this number itself, for like about 2 billion plus in transaction volume already, like on this mobile device. That's to show you that like there is volume here, and where there is volume there, you want your product to be there, right? There's volume and there are less competitors. So I don't see how people are not seeing the light like that, right? And at the recent breakpoint, right? Emmett, Emmett, the Solana by founder, right? He he announced the partnership with MediaTek, right? That controls like 50% of the Android market, and Android itself controls like most of the mobile experiences, right? Especially outside of the US. So yeah, this is why you should build mobile right now. Um, so in this slide, it is very in this slide it is very it's very compressed.
What's happening?
in this sense, it's very complex, right? It's not complex than how I would have it be, right? So, but part of the key takeaways that we can also take from the consumer meetup, right, was that you should let users explore your app for before asking them to connect their wallet or start signing stuff, right? I've used mobile apps where the first thing you're not even allowed to like explore what's this app about. Maybe a simple onboarding screen, right? I mean, onboarding always does it for like Web2 projects, right? But like people be like, just connect your wallet, then sign to show that you're the user of the wallet, stuff like that. I mean, but yeah, that's better onboarding. So let me just check my notes.
All right.
Right. So yeah, start with Web2 flows. I already spoke about onboarding, right? So like onboarding does it for every software as a service engineer, every indie dev, right? They like to focus, in short, spend all of it, most of your time on the onboarding, as far as because that's where like user retention comes in, right? To an extent, right? So and if you can keep the user right, they should know what they need in the application, then you can gradually introduce like crypto concepts like signing transactions, which at this stage, right, at this stage of crypto lifespan or maturity, those can even be hidden, right, with things like Cora Pay, Cora, yeah, something like that, where you sponsor transactions for people, right? So you can batch transactions, right? So um batch transactions for maybe a use case like there was an app I was going to work on, right? It's kind of like spraying money. So it's something that you cannot be like signing transactions like every tap where the user taps, right? So like in that use case you're going to like batch transactions for like better user experience. And then yeah, like if you are building, I mean, no shades to no shades to like projects um that ship their websites as PWAs over. I mean, for most of the projects you work for them, but if you should know when to and when not to ship websites. I mean, because it's possible to do it with what's the name of that there's that converter that starts from C. I can't remember the name, but like yeah, it's possible to do that. Doesn't mean like for every project is what it should like be doing for them. If you take out your time to just go on the Dappstore, like go on the Dappstore and go and read user reviews for such projects, you're just going to be seeing like tons of bad reviews and stuff, right? Because I mean, users themselves don't like it. I think for crypto folks now, I mean, the crypto folks that actually use the Seeker at this point, they just see it as if your app is like a website, they're going to see it as trash or something. Like, I mean, what I infer from like the, the comments, but like, yeah, if it works for you, maybe there's not much. I mean, people have seen it work for is like Ilios's orb, right? I mean, it's pretty much they have to get on the stuff fast, right? They already have a working product on the website. I mean, and it's not they don't need any mobile APIs, right? So it works for them, and they have a great UI too. So like you would hardly notice it. So security architecture, right? At this point, this is why this slide is not very detailed, but like at this point, we're supposed to talk about um best practices for production environments, right? So obviously, like Solana Mobile has already abstracted a lot of concerns with the wallet, right? On mobile, they've abstracted it, right? So you can even have Jupiter, which is a wallet itself, connect to the seed vault wallet, right? And then that's like uh, that's like an extra middleman of a fourth man, so a fourth party rather. That's like a fourth party in the whole private key thing, right? Like your private key, you now have distances from the user end, right? So it's as easy as that. Your DApp is the user facing application layer. You should not worry so much about wallets like that, data UX. Um, so on mobile devices, right? You make use of the mobile wallet adapter um to communicate with wallets, and it's a kind of authentication too. It can work for authentication too, right? I mean, that's the best advice if you are building on the Seeker. Just use mobile wallet adapter to like do authentication. Um, yeah, the seed vault is isolated key storage, abstracts your private keys away, yeah, and then trusted execution environment. But yeah, if you're going to be storing APIs, I I was going to put it in the slides, right? But like not this version of the slides. If you're going to be storing APIs and stuff like that, because uh there are other security practices that you should take note of when you're building mobile apps, right? You want to talk about obfuscation, right? Where you I mean it's a process, but it's also not hackable. It's also not sorry, it's also like it's not the best, right? But it works for its use case, right? Where you're storing things like your the base URL for maybe an API you're making use of, or private keys or stuff like that. Obfuscation does not like really hide it, right? If a newbie hacker, because everything is like on the internet right now, so like if a newbie hacker wants to steal your private information, um am I still on this call? If a newbie hacker wants to steal like your private information, right, they will still get access to it, even if you obfuscate obfuse I mean yeah, even if you do that to your app, right? I mean, obfuscation is basically like and by the way, it's something that you have to do manually. Like you have to explicitly do it. You don't just build your mobile apps and it just gets obfuscated like on its own, right? There's also tree shaking where you have to like this when you are building this all this are when you are building like native or cross platform. But yeah, there's also tree shaking where you like drop packages that you don't need, right? But like obfuscation is pretty much just like scattering your code, right? So it's not something that can easily be understood, right? But what it doesn't do is to hash or encrypt private 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 stuff that you are storing. Maybe you store a string that is your base URL. It's not going to encrypt that or anything like that. It's going to be plain text and not ciphertext. So the hacker can still read it, especially when you store it as a variable and you say, oh, the variable name is base URL or something like that. So that's something that should be taken note of, right? So especially because you're building crypto apps and then like you're handling people's money and stuff like that. But yeah, other security practices off the top of my head. Let me see my notes. Uh yeah, usage of trusted execution environments, right? Uh, biometrics. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about biometrics today, and at the end of the day, it is still which is obviously good, but like it's still on the device level, right? But I mean, it works for its use case, right? So nobody just gets access to the app apart from like maybe somebody that's authorized to use the phone. Um, but yeah, so we spoke about mobile wallet adapter previously, right? So mobile wallet adapter is pretty much how your your app can verify the user is who they say they are, right? In quotes, right? So it's pretty much it's can be like a way of authentication too, right? So you can verify that oh this person is um alex.soul, right? Or alex.skr. I mean you guys should make use of SNS too. That's like one because people should not be cramming this is four strings or wallet addresses. So right, so this flow here shows how to sign and send a transaction, and it's pretty much the same thing as you do it on your website front end, right? So you are you create a function that authorizes the wallet, right? This authorization is it connects to the app, right? The app which is the server in like a client server WebSocket architecture, right? So you can build and sign transactions, right? The same it pretty much works the same way, right? So talking about publishing, right? So I think publishing is where most people like have like that gray area, like they're not very they're not very
And it's like
knowledgeable when it comes to
first timer or first user kind of issue.
yeah, but publishing is not that hard, right? I mean it's very basic, it's very easy, especially with the new UI that Solana Mobile added, right? Where you can just go to the publisher portal and just you can go to the publisher portal and just drag and drop your application over there. I think you fill in some details. Although I've not used the I've not used the UI per se, but I like because I started with the CLI, so I just kept on using the CLI. Um, so if you ask me, right, where to ship your D app, right, I'm going to say you should ship to the Solana Dappstore, right? So I think an app that I built in 1 week and shipped to the Dappstore has already like 70 users as of today, right? I mean, if you're like me and nobody knows your father's name, especially on the space like this, having 70 users on your app that maybe 10% of are actually transacting with their money that they worked hard for, right? This crazy. This crazy distribution without any marketing budget or anything like that. I mean, I've not really done anything apart from what I posted that oh, I I built the app, and then based on the small knowledge I have, I know that most of the users are not even from like that post, right? Because at that point, people did not flood in based on the post, right? So it was just a gradual thing, like daily, maybe every day, five users, 5 to 10 users per day type. So there is no you are reaching your audience directly when you are building the app, right? So NFT based publishing can mean that your application is actually your own, right? Um, your application is actually your own, and fees you earn from your app, nobody's collecting like a percentage from it. Um, like your app is on chain, right? So it means that it's pretty much decentralized. Solana Dappstore does not own your app, right? Uh, so compared to the App Store and the Play Store, right, you can say it's a smaller audience, but for most crypto developers, I mean, it's a big number when you think about it. right? So yeah, you can always ship to the Dappstore, and then if you blow, permit me, if you blow, then you shift the Play Store
to
and
the
App
app.
Store. But like, yeah, but like it depends on what you're building, right? If you are very sure what you're building, right?
I
Or
think it should be like more of if your audience are strictly like crypto audience,
yeah,
with maybe a touch of normal Android users, your first go-to app store should be like the App Store. But then if your users, like the persons you are building the app for, is majorly like the normal day-to-day person that just wants to use the app, you could actually like now push to the Play Store, the App Store. That should be pretty
yeah.
much a book.
It also depends on the type of skill you're trying to build at, right? And your level of the depth of your pocket. Because buying like app store access can be like $100 per year. And then I it took me so long to actually get app store access, right? I got it sometime around last year. And then I I tried to upload my app only for me to find out that I cannot upload the app because I registered as an individual and not as an organization, right? So I because crypto apps per se manage people's money, they connect their wallet and stuff like that. So you're not going to be able to distribute your app on the app store. And I think it works the same way too for the Play Store. So it's going to take a longer time, right? Because you're going to start applying for DUNS and organizational level stuff, right? So if those things don't scare you, then like you should definitely publish to the three stores at the same time, right? Um, so monetization, what I've seen and what I think works, right? So there are several ways to like try to make money from your DApps, mobile DApps. What I think works is transaction fees, right? I've seen several interesting ways that people monetize actually, right? So what you should not do is gated access, except maybe it is for like a gig or something, or you're just plainly building it out for that community. So maybe people that have bunk can access this app and stuff like that, right? So but yeah, but transaction fees always make sense every time. You look at the biggest players in the game, right? Maybe top 10, you see that most of them make money from transaction fees, right? So another niche one can be in-app marketplace, right? I saw an interesting app, and I've seen this thing play out on Base. I've seen it play out on Solana too, like right. So where you can, I think I saw one where you can you can draw your own character and then mint it on chain, probably stuff like that. So yeah, it's also a way to earn royalties from like your application. But like those ones still like can still work with like transaction fees, because when people buy something from each other, it's still that's where you still make the money. But yeah, freemium freemium plus on chain is pretty much where people can basically use your app for like a period of time, right? But sometimes they have to like do things that are going to like cost a bit, right? So I mean, from takeaway, these are different revenue models, right? But like what has worked for me is transaction fees, right? And I think that's what works for like the biggest players in the game too. I mean, there's always disruption. You cannot always come out with what works for you, right? But like yeah, transaction fees work for most projects, right? So yeah, if you're building a crypto app, if you're building a D app, one thing you should try your best to focus on handling network states, right? Because user cannot be trying to send something on chain and then maybe um the app is not aware of network states, network changes and stuff like that. And so you want to make your transaction sending, transaction signing, you want to make it robust enough to handle all the possible edge cases, right? Right. So with things like Helios, right, you don't need to exactly optimize RPC calls like that because Helios have several functions, right? That that should work for you, and then they have our WebSocket subscriptions that you can even use for things like notifications, right? You can use for things like notifications and stuff like that, right? And then they have points that you can make use of. Those points are like wide enough for you to test whatever you're working on, right? And then catching is catching can be tricky, right? So say you have a screen where people say you have an high frequency trading mobile app. I don't know if high frequency trading and mobile apps can be in the same sentence, but like yeah, let's just use that as an example. All right, and then you catch maybe prices and stuff like that. That's going to be disastrous for you for your product, right? Because people can open the app and come back, delete and see like I mean everything still has to do is like proper QA testing, right? But like yeah, people can catching can be disastrous, but like you should know exactly where to use it, right? Because trust me, crypto apps can be slow. I mean, thanks to props to Solana, it's a lot faster than it used to be. Like for like maybe if you're bidding on other chains or something. But like yeah, when you don't start, maybe before you sign a transaction, there are like 4 RPC calls you're supposed to make, and then several things like that you're supposed to do, and these things could have been properly catched and then um maybe just reused, right? So it makes it has its use cases, right? It has its use cases. Um so yeah, testing on real devices is is something that you should do when you're building on like on Solana mobile, right? Because you have to test like mobile wallet adapters, but you can also test on emulators. According to what I saw from uh from the docs, thanks to can't remember his name, but like yeah, you can also test on emulators. Uh, how do they even test on emulators again? I can't remember. But like I know it's possible to test on emulators. Okay, you're going to have to build your own wallet app locally on the emulator, right? Then you're going to test the app you want to test on the emulator, right? Yeah, I think that's how it works. But yeah, testing on real devices and multiple devices, this is like something that every mobile developer should like know already, right? Because you might think you might think it works like that on different devices, but like one device can have like one limitation. Like if you're bidding on the sticker, you should try to test on the sticker, but it's not necessary. You can always test on like any Android device, right? So yeah, I mean you're very early to the mobile ecosystem. I've always said it right since last year. I mean the tools are ready, right? These guys ship every day, right? And the users are here already, right? The users are looking for how to spend their SKR token, right? So you guys can start building on Solana Mobile. But quickly, let me stop my sharing and share again so we can look at how publishing on the Dappstore should look like.
All right. Are you presenting like another listing?
No, it's just my code base we're going to be looking at and then the docs. I'm trying to open the docs.
Okay.
Right. So right. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah. He's on the stage.
Right. So landing here, right? Because I love to publish with the CLI, right? I'm landed at publishing with the CLI directly, but like publishing is way wider than that, right? You can use the Dappstore publisher portal, which I'm not going to log into, right? To publish your app, right? So according to the documentation, before you begin, you should have this signed with your release key, right? So I mean, you can always talk to an LLM, right? Just ask ChatGPT how to sign your app with your release key. But like if you are used to publishing already, then it doesn't really take time. Just have a bunch of questions to answer, and then you look out the properties file to specify a few stuff, right? Your app metadata, you should already have this down, right? But like I usually just work with it like synchronously. So like I build the app first, then yeah, I mean you can always just come here and just prepare one by one, right? Name, description, screenshots, and icon, right? Okay, so when you are publishing on the UI, right, you should have a wallet extension installed, and I think they are specified. Okay, yeah, they said Phantom or something. So and then you should have read this. I mean, I read it one time. I read the whole of it, but like yeah, most people just accept it anyways. So you should sign up for like a publisher account on the same portal website that I did not open, and then you do like your KYC. The KYC is I think it uses some sub or some related service like that, so it's not very serious, right? But like I mean, it's KYC. The way KYCs are, um, you connect your publisher wallets, right? This I have not done previously, right? I'm just going over the processes. The easy the Actually, I think this is the easier way to do it honestly, because like I would normally do it through the CLI, right? So you connect your publisher wallet and then you're going to fund your wallet with 0.2 Sol. Uh yeah, storage provider. I mean, I said I was going to reach out to them to like consider Walrus, although I've not checked out these their storage options, AirDrive and AWS S3, to like see why they chose those ones specifically. But yeah, I think you can also come up with your own storage provider somewhere around. I've not really checked that too. And then like I said, it's the UI. You just paste the pictures, paste the text. I mean, this thing should have like checks, right? So if the picture is not in the proper dimension, all those, yeah, they even dropped guidelines, right? So yeah, it has gotten very a lot detailed, right? It didn't used to be like this, like before when like when they started shipping the mobile, right? So you can submit your first release version directly from the UI too, right? But you should have like 0.3 soul, but that I think is if you are using the CLI, right? All these things already just abstracted away. So if you want to submit an update, how it works under the hood is probably like minting minting a new uh release NFT, and then like creating a submission. Okay, this is new. You can also you can now share your. Okay, this is new. I'm just seeing this for the first time. I'll check it out. But like yeah, um, publishing to the job store. I mean the video is even there already, right? You're going to install the CLI tool, right? I think this is global installation, right? You should have this in your. You should have this in like your. I mean, if you're building a mobile app, you should already have this, right? So you can just check the path to this um this tool, right? Check that you have this already, ffmpeg, and then yeah, in your project directory, right? And I believe this is safe to share because it's also safe to commit to GitHub, right? So your project directory, we need to create a new folder and then navigate to the folder directory. And this is what we have here, right? So then you can run this. This is going to from this tool that you installed previously is going to generate a few files locally for you, right? If you want to update your CLI, which I had to do recently, just run this. So how publishing works is that, and you should first try it on DevNet, especially when you're using like the CLI, right? You're going to first, because it costs actual money to do these things on chain. Right? You're going to first mint like the NFT, right? Um, I think you're minting like three NFTs. You mint the apps NFT, mint a release NFT, and then you're going to create a submission. And that submission is an on-chain process to on its own. Right. So anytime you want to create a new release, maybe bump up the version number, you're going to create a release NFT, right? And then create a new submission too. Right. So say you should collect publishing assets. So this is basically just like the same thing that happens on the UI, but like we're doing it on our own, right? So in this publishing files here is your app build, right? If you run maybe for Flutter devs, it's something like Flutter build APK, right? So if you run that, your your APK build, right, is going to be named this. It's going to be somewhere around Android app source assets type, something like that, right? Then we're also going to create a media folder, right? These are what is going to show on the Dappstore, right? So these things, their dimensions are very specific, right? And it has to be like the exact dimension, right? So you're going to work on all this. I do this manually, probably using something like Canva, right? And then where you are going to work on next is this config file, right? So they said it's safe to push to GitHub, so I'm just going to open it, right? So yeah, you're going to create these assets, as I've said, build and sign your app on your own, populate the configuration file, right? So this should have been a bunch of maybe you see something like maybe you see something like this, right? You are going to have to like edit all these things on your own, right? Yeah. I think there's an open source repo that you can just check out and see how it should look like, right? So in case you're missing something, you should just come here and just look at how they did their own, the app name. Yeah, also some things are going to automatically populate by themselves, right? I think like address now populates by itself, release address populates by itself, right? Last submitted version on change. So you should not bother yourselves with things like this. I mean, probably will not be there when you're filling it out, right? So in case these things confuse you, right, you should just don't disturb yourself with it. All right, but that's pretty much it, right? Um, and then you run a few CLI commands that is going to, yeah, you mean to your app NFT is the like app identity on chain, right? So keep it safe, right? So how I do mine is I go to this answer create keep it documentation. I mean, it's very basic. Some people probably remember it, but like I remember coming here every time. So you just generate. That's how I do mine. Can probably have a different way of handling your keeper, obviously. Then I use Ilios RPC endpoints, which although is not necessary, but like if you don't specify this, it's going to create it on DevNet, right? So you can just test on DevNet first. But like if you want to create it on Minute, you have to specify this, right? So say your CLI command to create a minute is this, which I'm assuming this is not. This is just validating that your configuration is run correctly, right? I think this is the one to create on minute. Right? So you are going to, if you just run this directly, right, it's going to create on DevNet. But like if you run it with this, I mean obviously without the braces, these square braces, right? And then your minutes RPC URL, maybe put it in like this what's the name? Yeah, I mean, if it's long, just put it in this. If it has a lot of weird characters, like Ilios's, it's hyphens and stuff, just put it in this. But yeah, that's pretty much it. You mint your app NFT, which is like your app identity on chain, right? Very important. Then you mint a release
So
NFT. This release
before
NFT
you
carries,
continue, can you hear me?
yeah, can you
So while you're deploying, it gives you like about three NFTs. So the first one is what?
the app NFT, which is like the app's identity. I think
Then the
that's like
second
the
one,
most expensive one, something.
and the second
But
one
yeah,
is what?
the second one is the release NFT, which is
What?
yeah, it is like it holds the app's version, so it's like a lot cheaper than like it
And
holds the
then
app version. So maybe
and then the
if
third
you the third one is no longer an NFT, it's just an on-chain process. You're going to submit your app to the store, right? And this when once you run this one, your app is automatically under review.
one. Okay. Daniel is asking whether we have like a checklist for pushing the app, like maybe once you are
Yeah, so
uploading things you actually
exactly.
like.
Exactly. So I used to have like a ChatGPT chat, which I'm not going to open on the live stream because obviously there's a lot of processes, right? So maybe I'll just like work on a skill for it, maybe an MD file or something.
Okay. I think it will make sense. So maybe you should work on a skill. I would think with you work on a skill so that people could actually like use it to build like an application, and I would actually see how that goes. Also, yeah, that'll be appreciated. Okay, that's good. So we'll think later on that on the skills side of things, but then I think generally it's all kind of like making sense now. Because a lot of persons reach out. The NFT cost is it pretty much about $8 or something thereabout. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. Because I've not even like built a mobile app before. So when they actually like make that complaint, I'm like, but now I think I kind of like understand the reason why. So I don't know if there's like any other thing we are missing on the
I mean,
um
now that
so
Solana is very high, I mean, it's a lot easier to like it's a lot cheaper to build on Solana mobile, right? There was a time I did the whole processes and it cost like $30.
oh crazy.
I think, yeah. And the app did not even get on chain because like it was on DevNet, so I just gave up.
Oh, so what do you think are like the best practices anybody that wants to actually like ship should have at the back of their mind?
Right. So first of all, right, so like work on good UI and user experience, right? Because that's what actually like retain users, especially like crypto users. I am part of the belief that most people that would not use trading terminals on their desktops most of the time. Maybe when you want to take a walk, you would always need that mobile app to like just check your trades. You can just quickly open it, and it can become very addictive. Just the same way, just the same way with Claude bots, you can probably like check code, your code running on your PC. You can just check. I mean, on Cloudbot, you can check it on Telegram and be like, okay, this is the progress. This is what I
Uh,
want. I mean, everything is going to be mobile at the end of the day. Like with the way it's going currently, right? I mean, it can go as Uzbe said, it can become classes or something. But like, yeah, I mean, that means nobody has actually broken like that. Apart from Cloudbot, right? Because Cloudbot is one very good, very cool tech, right? Because yeah, you can pretty much do everything on your phone, right? With Cloudbot. So like, yeah, I
so,
still do believe that trading terminals are going to become mobile, right? Uh,
so how about when deploying to like the Solana Dappstore, what are like the best practices for somebody that wants to actually like ship a mobile app?
yeah, that I mean that's where I was that I mean we already spoke about it. Security wise, try to not keep your app secrets in plain text, right? You can probably encrypt it, right? Even if it is in your env file, right? Encrypt it in that file itself. So maybe the app has like a private key that can decrypt that encrypted, even if it's just your, I mean, if it's not sensitive, then yeah, you can always just keep it in plain text. But like imagine like your app gains traction and it becomes starts becoming popular, and then maybe a hack from like one simple thing you could have easily avoided just came in from maybe a 9 years old crashed your chain or something like that. Or if I could have hacked your app, yeah, something like that. Yeah. So then user experience wise, like Loste will say, um you don't really want like to have wallets everywhere as like the base of your app. Like Web3 is moving to like a Web2 user experience type. So as much as you can try to keep your app, try to pass the value you are building with your app, right? Just try to let the users know exactly what they want, like exactly what you are offering them, right? Then and with time, when it is very necessary, then you can maybe delegate signing transactions to like wallets or with things like Cora. I think Cora Pay. Is it Cora Pay? Because there's
Cora,
another
just
Cora
Cora.
project. Yeah, there's another Cora project on Web2. I keep
I know Cora
keep
Pay.
yeah, with things like Cora, right, you can handle transaction fees,
That's less
right, for the
transactions.
user. And with things like Private, you can help them sign those transactions, right? So it can just be to them, they are signing with their Gmail, right? And then when they press, yes, I accept, the money has gone or something like that, right? So it can become very, user experience can make sense a lot more, right? Um, what
Also,
else?
like use of SNS and domain names instead of normal
Yeah, that's very important, especially when you are building like on the CCAR, right? Like every person has like,
on
although we cannot
SKI.
assume, yeah, we cannot assume that that's the wallet they are going to use to sign into your applications. Like, but like, yeah, it would make sense to like incorporate something like that.
Okay, so on the side of deploying applications, what are like the best practices for that?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much uh Best practices for deploying.
Yeah, maybe having enough gas fees for transactions, cleaning up what do you call it, private keys from exposed
Yeah,
systems and all that.
yeah. I mean, private keys should really be sensitive with private keys. Something that is that spans across whether you are building programs it is or it is mobile or web based, right? So at the end of the day, it's just mostly security consciousness, user experience, right?
Also, the mainnet and devnet, you are making sure that you kind of provide those links and all that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think pretty much we kind of like did something solid on tonight's call.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, it wasn't most of what I was like anticipating to share, right? But like
it's cool.
an next,
Yeah, it's pretty much like a conversation with a little bit of showing how to get this started. So maybe subsequent times we would actually like maybe show how to like build a mobile template and deploy in real time. And that will pretty much
yeah,
cost money.
definitely,
Then it's still something that we can do. So
yeah, definitely,
apart from that, I think we kind of covered the basics and everything that is needed to ship and deploy to the mobile app store. So thank you very much for showing up on the call.
yeah. Thank you for
Um,
having me.
yeah, tomorrow I think you guys will be having your workshop in photo. So
Yeah, yeah,
um,
definitely.
all the
And
best.
this guy shared a pitch deck that was of very much help.
Okay,
Um,
big Joe.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, all right. So yeah, I think this will be wrapping the live stream. Maybe we'll be seeing some of that in during the course of the week. But yeah, bye guys.